Morning, everybody. Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. Halfway through our week. We got this one in the bag, don't we, folks? I just wrapped up an interview with Andy Leon, one of my favorite crypto Twitter friends. Honestly. Let's take a quick peek at... He's got 194,000 followers. I'm one of the 85 he's following. It's incredible. Andy has been an anomaly to me for a long time. Hey, he was tweeting when we were on our interview. He's got a huge following. He's based out of Singapore, and he's just worked with a lot of governments over the past handful of years. Andy is spelled with two N's, A-N-N-D-Y. And I've gotten to meet him at a handful of crypto conferences. He recently wrote a book called Web 4, The Age of Autonomous Intelligence, which talked about the overlap of blockchain, Web 3, and AI. It was a really fascinating conversation. There was a little bit of cynicism and realism, as well as hopium for the future. Andy's been a Bitcoin hodler since 2012, so he has seen his fair share of things. I've always thought it was interesting that he followed me. I'm one of the 85, but super cool dude, really down to earth, just a no-nonsense guy, kind of says it how it is. And he's really just tapped in to what's going on with blockchain, crypto, innovative technologies. So it was an awesome conversation. We'll be releasing that podcast on June 18th. So keep your ears to the ground for that. It was really fun to listen to him, to chat with him. All right. We continue to be in the doldrums of a bearish tumult. We're on the way down. I haven't looked at price today. I've been too busy doing work, interviews, podcast stuff. But I would imagine that things aren't necessarily all that much better. Let's take a quick peek at what's going on. Yeah, crypto's down. Cool. Anyways, the Blockchain Association has urged Senate to pass the Clarity Act. We are just continuing to lose more and more time with the Clarity Act, which is the market structure bill being discussed here in the US. The Blockchain Association sent a letter yesterday to Senate Majority Leader John Thune and Senate Democrat Leader Charles Schumer, Chuck, that was signed by 160 former national security and law enforcement officials. Lawmakers are continuing to debate whether the bill should include ethics provisions that would restrict elected officials from participating in crypto ventures, a debate fueled in part by President Donald Trump's crypto business interests. How ironic that the crypto president is harming crypto law from being put into place because of his business interests. Really frustrating, actually. A lot of folks made a deal with the devil to vote for Trump. And while we've gotten pro-crypto regulators and legislators put into office, we've also gotten the presidential and first lady meme coins that were launched right when Trump went into office. A Bitcoin mining facility heavily associated with his son's name. World Liberty Finance, a DeFi platform that is greatly tied to the Trump family, and also has had some shady shenanigans take place. Let's just be honest. And a huge fight with Justin Sun, another divisive figure in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. So while there has been no progress made on Clarity Act, I guess Senate is back in the office. Where were they for the past week or two? On another vacation? You guys just had a 2-week Easter break. Friggin' ridiculous. Anyways, the Blockchain Association is going to host a fly-in in Washington, D.C. with meetings across 18 different Senate offices of crypto builders, blockchain builders here in the U.S. And they've also scheduled to organize a virtual town hall on Thursday to discuss how the bill will support law enforcement and national security. Fun fact, when I went to D.C. in December of 2023 to speak with Colorado legislators and policymakers, when we were speaking with the Republican Party, we really had to lean in to national security efforts. So I wonder if things are still the same today as they were back then. The parties need to hear different reasons for supporting pro-crypto agendas. Not having a foot in crypto is a national security issue for any government, period. If the world is going to start using different payments rails and people from different countries, governments from different countries are going to use these rails, actively not having a voice in the development of those rails or the integration and adoption is effectively saying we do not want to participate in the next wave of financial markets, of financial technology rails. And at that point, when you can have a pariah state figuring out how to move money, how to move funds around a global leader's mandates, policies, regulations, then yeah, you're effectively harming your nation's security. So that was the lines and the ideology and the verbiage and the wording that we used with the Republican senators and representatives that we met with when I was in DC in December 2023. But let's not focus on politics. Coinbase has invested in Ethena via an open market purchase of the ENA token, which flags a new partnership. Coinbase Ventures has invested in Ethena, and Ethena said the two companies have become partners to grow on-chain finance and savings products. Coinbase also mentioned that the closer partnership will include Circle's USDC stablecoin. Ethena created a synthetic dollar in early 2024 that acts as an on-chain bond that maintains its peg to the dollar using a delta neutral hedging strategy, which makes it unlike most other stablecoins. And so Ethena has been around for a long time. USDE is their synthetic dollar, and it holds its peg to the dollar via delta hedged crypto exposure via perpetual futures. Lots of shenanigans there. But that being said, Ethena has been around for quite some time. Their products have been live for 2.5 years now. And it's interesting to see that as a part of this announcement that USDC was thrown into the mix, because effectively USDC is a competitor to USDE. That being said, they use two different mechanisms to maintain their peg to the dollar. USDC is one-to-one backed with US debt instruments, other cash-like instruments, whereas we just outlined USDE itself leverages shenanigans to keep its peg. This I also wanted to note is interesting because given the involving nature of the Clarity Act, we expect potential tailwinds for on-chain native products like USDE from idle balances on exchanges, and Ethena is well positioned to support this transition, is something that Ethena founder Guy Young said. The Clarity Act is... Sometimes I get really frustrated that we just can't get a law passed in this country for something that's designed to create, for lack of better words, clarity around an asset class that was so controversial for the past 4 years. And when we have real deal builders saying that they need the Clarity Act to give them guidelines for how they can and can't operate, it's really frustrating to see the previous news like we just saw, how we have associations urging Senate to act, and Senate is on its break. They only have effectively like 6 or 7 more weeks of activity before they go on August break. And then when they come back from August break, they have to go campaign. So really, the window for Clarity Act to get passed is getting smaller and smaller. And yet we see an announcement like this stating that if Clarity Act passed, that there would be better definitions for which platforms can reward users for holding funds in stablecoins like USDC. And we also see the quiet part being said out loud. The powerful banking lobby has been opposing measures that would allow for stablecoin incentives similar to how banks pay interest on savings account deposits. So while it's super cool to see Coinbase partnering with Ethena, investing into Ethena, it still feels like we can't go to where we want to go until we have Clarity Act put into law. And we don't even know if Clarity will pass. So let me spin my negativity to this next article. We've spoken about how we like Matt Hougan, CIO of Bitwise, previously on the Daily Digital Downloads. He recently said that betting on Bitcoin or crypto is a contrarian bet. And it's increasingly becoming a contrarian bet as digital assets and the digital asset market is posting loss after loss after loss, while we're seeing the stock market hit all-time highs, and we're seeing a lot of speculative fervor for folks going in to AI stocks, robotics companies, and SpaceX. There's clearly demand for cutting-edge technology and for allocating capital there, and crypto just is not capturing it. And so now it's becoming a contrarian bet once again. Matt said, who needs crypto when the NASDAQ 100 is up 43% year over year? With AI sucking all the oxygen out of the room, crypto is being forced to go through a painful metamorphosis from momentum trade to contrarian bet. Matt also noted that we're in a crypto winter and that it's different from previous cycles, and that investors haven't been rotating into supposedly safer assets like Bitcoin. I would also add Ethereum, but instead into smaller assets that have, quote, credible fundamentals. And to use the following as examples, Hyperliquid is up 72% over the month, BNB is up over 17%, Zcash is up 50%, Stellar is up 44%, and none of these are big macro plays, big macro names. All of them have idiosyncratic stories that the market is rewarding. This is why I've been saying, if you want your ecosystem to survive and thrive moving forward, you need to double down on a vertical, on a narrative. Look what Polygon did this year. They laid off half their staff after their runway was getting threatened, and now they're focusing on payment coins and stables, payment rails and stables. Movement, who suffered a major PR disaster when they had to fire their former CEO, and there were allegations of token allocations and dumping. They came back yesterday, and they're now going after stablecoins, payments, and rails. They're partnering with major name brands. They've effectively revived themselves. Base is doubling down on the AI agent narrative. They don't have a token, though, so it's hard for me to point to them. But Near is doubling down on AI infrastructure, especially with its intents. And look at the success that Near is having, in addition to the other projects that Matt just highlighted. So yeah, I mean, is crypto contrarian? Maybe, probably. Yeah, man. I mean, we've been decoupled from the rest of the markets since October 10th. And that was when massive waves of cascading liquidations took place. And I just don't think that the appetite to survive the volatility that crypto has inherently built into it by nature is there. And when you can go to the stock market and capture upside in literally any index, why would anybody be looking for edge anywhere else? Further, when you have Zcash with its privacy, Hyperliquid with its 24/7 perps market trading narrative, BNB was just the sheer amount of use and actual on-chain activity from real-world users, it's not surprising to see these tokens are running up. Really interesting to see Matt point that out. And again, this article points out that when clarity gets passed, crypto market structure can be better. Right now, we're at 50-50 odds of Clarity Act getting put through. All signs point to crypto broadly doing better if Clarity Act can get passed. So any American that's watching this now or in the future, you should be actively courting your local politicians to get this damn thing through. And I want to end this article pointing out that Matt said, contrarian bets are won by looking in the places no one is looking and acting in ways that may feel awkward, which is exactly what I said yesterday. If you have a long-term thesis in a digital asset that you are really psyched on, and a year ago, you were really, really bullish on that asset, but today you're not, then go reevaluate your metrics. And a year ago, if you were really bullish on the asset and today you're still bullish on the asset, then the broader market decrease of 40% or more should be a great opportunity for you. Not financial advice. Again, I've said this plenty of times before. I still have to work for a living, and I've been in crypto since 2018. I clearly haven't made it yet. So what the hell do I know? Here, let's do two negative pieces of news, and then we'll follow on a good one. Yesterday, TapTools announced that they're shutting down. TapTools is essentially an API analytics and infrastructure services provider for the Cardano ecosystem. And they basically cited that they're going to shut down because the CTO and COO stepped down this year, along with another co-founder, and that the economics of operating a large-scale ecosystem platform had become increasingly difficult, citing infrastructure development and support expenses. And I said this yesterday, guys, and this was largely why I said this yesterday, because I saw the TapTools news. We're in a part of the cycle where stalwart projects, teams, and people are slowly going to fade out of crypto. If it's your life mission to stay in this vertical asset class or industry, then you need to A, get lean, and B, fight like hell. The next 6 to 12 months will be hard. And this was the story that inspired me to post that, because TapTools is largely regarded as one of the necessary service providers in the Cardano ecosystem. And Cardano is going through it too right now. The price of ADA is down bad. It was a darling project 8 months ago, 10 months ago, and now everybody's speaking negatively about it. Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, described TapTools as part of his daily routine and said the platform's departure reflects broader pressures facing projects across the ecosystem. I too work in an Alt L1 ecosystem and have seen the effects of the market negatively impacting our ecosystem. And it's only going to get worse because we're just starting to see more and more teams leave because they can't support themselves. We're going to see more and more stories like this across more and more different ecosystems become commonplace. Hoskinson also noted that it's hard for him personally and the Cardano Foundation to invest into projects like TapTools to keep them afloat. He said that he lacks direct control over ecosystem funding decisions, governance mechanisms, and treasury allocations. So, RIP to TapTools. Yeah, guys, we're just having It's hard out there. And in addition to the market going down, sentiment on CT being bad, DeFi protocols being hacked left and right, there's also just the normal pressures of blockchain and crypto, which is just surviving. And it's hard to survive when your runway goes away, when you lose talent. There's a lot of brain drain going on in crypto right now. So this is emblematic of what's to come. And in addition to ecosystems being hit hard, so are verticals. And NFTs as a vertical is just getting decimated to the point where Binance is shutting down its NFT service. If you have NFTs on Binance, you have 1 month to withdraw your assets. Binance's NFT service was centralized, and effective July 3, you will not be able to move your NFTs off of Binance's NFT service. You will lose access to them. Noted. The problem here is that Binance and other NFT platforms are shutting down. But Binance has been at the forefront of exiting the NFT verticals. In April of 24, they stopped supporting Bitcoin ordinals. In September of 23, they stopped supporting Polygon networks, NFTs. And just in general, and this alludes to what I was saying about how difficult it is to be in blockchain and crypto. The NFT vertical itself was just absolutely killer. Absolutely killer in 2021. Look at this activity in 2021 and 2022, and then look at the diminished and non-existent activity in the years that followed. The NFT vertical itself gives zero reason for people to keep being psyched on NFTs. In 2022, NFT trade volume stood at $50 billion. And this year, it's at $5.5 billion. Or last year is at $5.5 billion. Obviously, only trending down. It's projected to be less than $5.5 billion this year. Yeah, man. I mean, like, crypto markets make it easy to chase hype, and the NFT vertical was one of the most hyped verticals I can remember. I thought the ICO boom was crazy. NFTs were even more crazy, honestly. And so where does that leave us today? What does that leave us to get excited about? Nothing super frothy, unfortunately. Stablecoins are the killer use case. RWA is coming on chain. Banks, traditional financial institutions, TradFi, mainstream, are implementing support for stablecoins and adopting them. And that's what's the killer use case today, honestly. And you can't make a bunch of money on a stablecoin because it's supposed to stay at $1. Mastercard is expanding its settlement capabilities to support intraday, weekend, and holiday card settlements using both fiat currencies and regulated stablecoins. The company said that the rollout will support USDC, PYUSD, USDG, and USDP, RLUSD, and SoFiUSD. And settlement will be enabled across the following blockchain networks: Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, Base, Arbitrum, Canton, Tempo, and XRP Ledger. We're starting to see who the winners are. And that is battle-hardened blockchain networks, public blockchain networks, Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, Base, Arbitrum, and emerging, what's the best way to put it? Corporate chains that are decentralized enough, like Canton, Tempo, and XRP Ledger. Mastercard said that they're breaking into the stablecoins payments vertical rails, as the expansion will allow issuers and acquirers to process transactions outside of standard banking schedules while continuing to operate alongside existing settlement processes. Guys, this is the then you win part of the cycle that we're in. We're winning. Blockchain's winning. It's just not us that are winning. It's not retail that's winning. Our technology's winning, but not you and me. Unless you use stablecoins for payments and you are debanked. Or you're from another part of the world where you can never even get access to a bank account. Then this is really good news for you. You can start to participate in global markets. You can start to pay for things using stablecoins. So this is an instance where it's good news, but it's not necessarily empowering people to improve their economic situation. And this is just another instance of Mastercard doubling down on stablecoin infrastructure. In May this year, they got a BIT license from the New York State Department of Financial Services that established a compliance framework required to clear tokenized deposits and payment stablecoins within New York. They have a definitive agreement to acquire BVNK for up to $1.8 billion that will implement a enterprise stablecoin infrastructure into Mastercard's umbrella and tech stack. And they're also competing against Visa and MoneyGram and Western Union, who are also getting into the stablecoin game. And stablecoin as payments rails as well. So, that's the dichotomy of today's news. We continue to be in crypto Schrodinger's cat, where we are simultaneously in a bear market, but also being adopted and implemented more broadly to the point where we can't be erased, removed from traditional payments, infrastructure, and the financial services world. What a time to be alive, folks, huh? Well, don't look at your crypto portfolio too long. Go out and touch grass. We're having a red week during a bear market. These times are always more painful. So we have to look at the positives when we can find them. And the positives are, how is our industry being integrated and adopted at the mainstream level? And so even though this news might not pump any of your bags or really benefit you completely, we have to look for the pros about how our technology is being adopted and implemented at the mainstream. So folks, with all that said, if you haven't yet, please subscribe for our weekly newsletter down at thesmarteconomist.beehive.com. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Hopefully we have some good news tomorrow. Hopefully I can put some green lights back there because we have the market rebounding and we're not so red anymore. And positive sentiment starts to flood our feeds on crypto Twitter again. But until that happens, keep coming here because we're going to keep showing you reasons for hope and reasons to be excited about what's going on in blockchain and crypto. So with all that said, thank you for tuning in.